I think we have to stop pretending. I think that's the thing that this industry needs is the honest human will work and does work.
I appreciate you guys being here as always. Today, we're going to be talking about website language for FAs. Why? Because it's something we talk about nearly, I would say, almost with every single advisor, we've at least touched on the website, unless it's a situation where it's templated for you and you're, like at Edward Jones, you can't do much with it. But if you're not as constricted and you can build your own, it creates this world of like, now what do I do? You almost feel like you're creating your own social media platform. I realize it's extremely overwhelming, and I wanted to talk about the language specifically on there and how we're building it and how to resonate with people.
I think what's happened is the asset manager from the top down, right? The big money has put all this money into these websites, which look really well, and they deliver based on, they deliver how they should. You could argue that they shouldn't be copying each other or whatever, but they're built really well, and they're structured in a way to meet advisors and where advisors need to be met. The problem is that this industry all trickles downhill, and there's actually they're two wildly, massively different audiences. So the asset manager to financial advisor relationship is one thing, but then when advisors are copying that template and applying it to the B2C world, it's a massively different audience, style, the user experience. You cannot continue to mimic that because the user experience is so different. The client is not looking to get lost in your website like the financial advisor is looking to get into the weeds on, the different details of your fund or your offering and your white papers and your fact sheets and all the commentary, like way different.
100%. So I also like to use your example, Corey, because you're not only, a marketer and looking at websites, but you're not an advisor, even though you're around the world. When you were clicking on a website and you're seeing these templates, the other thing I see is advisors all think theirs look the same or look different. They spend a lot of time on it. They put some effort into it. And they feel like they're making theirs look different, but it all ends up looking the same from the outside. As a person who might think about financial planning, as a person who might need it. What do you think about when you see a website? What do you want to know when you go there? What's the only thing you care about when you're stepping into a website, when you're interested in financial planning?
I love, and I haven't seen very many examples of it, I love when advisors break the mold and deliver the content the way I want to consume it, which is, single pages, speaking human. I'm not seeing the rhetoric of the talking in the language, kind of that direct one-on-one conversation.
I like that. Let's lean on that for a second. Go into that. You've talked about that plenty of times, and most of the time I feel like we're pulling back from advisors about speaking from their company, again, as if it's like a Franklin Templeton. You don't know who you're going to get. You don't know how many people work here. You feel you have like a corporation feel, even though you're a one-man shop. What would you suggest in those situations?
The fake it till you make it thing, it's not 1980 anymore. And we're going to know that Keating Wealth Management is just Corey Keating. So when I'm talking throughout my website as we the entire time, what am I putting on the about page? Am I putting a fake picture of the rest of us? Like there's a breakdown there. Like it's okay to be a one-man shop. If you want to use we because you have an admin, that's okay. But let's not pretend that we're $100 billion entity with 35 advisors and 16 CFAs and all these people behind the scenes. Like, I think we have to stop pretending. I think that's the thing that this industry needs is the honest human will work and does work.
What do you think advisors are having trouble with? Why do you think they have trouble putting their personality out there? Why do you think they lead into the company?
I don't want to say insecurity because I think advisors do have security. I think it's an insecurity around marketing. I think there's an insecurity around of being different because I think there are so few, Ryan, honest to God, there's so few that do it differently that if it's an apple tree and you show up as an orange, like you stand out. And I think advisors, for the most part, are afraid of being the orange but the orange is the one that'll win.
Which is
And
crazy because it's the point.
correct.
Yeah. So interesting. And I think we talk about this all the time too, and here's my point. Let's back up for a second. Even outside of insecurity, when you're stepping into a website and you're building your own, you're now a graphic designer, you're a copywriter, and you're a financial advisor. Even with me, with I feel like having a marketing brain, I can build the crappiest website you've ever seen. I can spend hours on it, and you could go through and send me a long, detailed message about all the things that I missed and the color that's going and the spacing that could have been corrected, how people could flow through. Again, I can't make that. I don't have the artistic touch. Do you think that's necessary? Because one of the things we're doing is it's hard as an advisor to make your own website. So usually what people can afford is some service that gives them a template. So how do we, I think one of the biggest things we do, and I'll let you lean on this, is adding the human into the template as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I don't expect anyone to turn themselves into a graphic designer, a web developer, or anything like that. Let me just rewind and apply this to you and I. Anytime someone goes to create a website, it's human nature and it's fact. I don't care. Like, it's just fact. You're going to use other websites as guides to, I like this, I like that, let's look at this, they're doing this really well, let's mimic that. What has happened in finance is, back to my apples and oranges thing, there are not enough oranges, right? There's not enough unique websites for advisors to latch onto and bolt onto and say, I like this, I like that, I want to mimic that. So they end up mimicking the apple tree. Whereas you and I, we're working on a marketing website, right? There's so many variations of cool ways of doing marketing websites. Some people have boring ones. Some people's are terrible. Some people's are awesome. We look at a company like Refine Labs and you're like, I want to take this from them. I want to borrow this. I want to do that, because there's many more oranges, right? So that's the problem, I think, that advisors and this industry as a whole, as a whole, asset management, wealth management, whatever, I think that's the problem that everybody has. Consultants, right? Everyone's copying each other, but they're all copying the apple, and there's not enough oranges. So that doesn't necessarily answer your question, but I think that's the problem.
I think it does. We always to what we're talking about on social media and how to differentiate yourself is clear human content. Maybe don't be afraid of being so creative. And maybe you will have to delegate a few graphics or something like that, or a symbol that you want to be there, but you know how to speak a clear language. The thing I would tell people about writing copy is to try to write in a similar way that you would speak, because we all try to end up writing, and it sounds almost either like a college paper or a report that nobody will really resonate with. And when they want to go to your website, just like when they would read your social media post, somebody should be able to connect to that in some which way. And that's when we go over, the like I see cash flow analysis and retirement planning and all this stuff. And that's where I jumped in when we had a message, from one of our members, which sparked this idea for me for the show, which was how to use the correct language. And we're always using the right language to resonate with people. It doesn't matter if it's a PDF we're handing them. It doesn't matter if it's a social media post, if it's our website, if it's a video. It should always be relatable.
I totally agree. And I think the thing that you do a good job at with our members and in our conversations is talking about less is more, eliminate friction, reduce the pages. Like, let's be real. I don't care how many assets you guys have out there that you're watching. You don't have that much to say that people aren't finding at Yahoo Finance, Bloomberg, and CNNmoney.com. Like, the articles and the tickers and all the other news is out there. They want to know about you and your business and what you guys do, and they want it quickly, succinctly, and easy.
Simple is scalable. The more confused somebody is, the more pages they have to go to. If it's not a powerful message, if it's just there to be there, it's a place for people to get lost. And if they don't feel like clicking around anymore, it's not that people get lost on the website. You want to be able to answer their questions in a clear way and deliver, some of that value that leads to the next step, which is hopefully a phone call. I don't think you should expect anybody to want to hand you $1 million from looking at your website. It should just be relatable enough and answering the questions so people are reassured of, if they've seen you on social media, if they found you on Google, whatever, they know what they're going to get from you from seeing that website.
Here's what I want every advisor to, at the end of 2022, like, I don't care if your website is bought on one of the platforms, Broadridge, 20/10, these guys, they have a place, and some of their websites are awesome. Like, I'm not This is not about me knocking where to get a website done, because I'm empathetic to the fact of building a custom website.
We
is
need those
arduous.
services. 100%.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
1000%. My goal for you guys as financial advisors, if I was working with you, would be January 1 of 2022. If someone asked, do you have a website? Where can I find it? That in your heart, in your head, you were proud as shit to give them your domain. That's my bottom. Like, like, my website's awesome. Yeah, effing go to my website. That's my goal for everybody. Like, when you're hesitant, when you it's not
if that domain is taken, proudofshit.com.
Right? If someone asks you for your domain, where can I find out more, your website, and in the back of your mind, you're like, or you're making excuses for it verbally, you're like, it needs work, so just bear with, don't overly judge it. I know we need to get to it. What a fail and missed opportunity, guys. Please, because you have no idea how much due diligence is taking place behind the scenes on your website when you're not around. 11:45 p.m. on a Friday, 6:02 a.m. on a Saturday, noon on Wednesday. People are Googling, they're searching, they want to know, and you don't know what those 3 views could have been or could have turned into.
Yeah. 100%, how everything connects. Like that's too, I guess, what comes with your content that leads back to your website, the marketing continuity that comes along with it. I find a lot of people who have updated content, but a 5-year-old website doesn't resonate with the things they're even saying right now all the time. So when they go back to check you out, there's that disconnect of, I thought he did this. He's talking about maybe special needs planning, but it says retirement planning and elder care or something like that, or difference. So it's really important to obviously make sure it's at least up to date, so all the information is clear. And if you're going to have dates on there, be very careful and make sure you're updating those, because if you're going to have a blog or something like that, the worst thing you can do is have a blog and not do it for 6 months. It looks vacant. It looks like nobody's there. And I think that puts out the image that somebody might not answer. You don't know what you're going to get from that website. It just kind of, I don't know, it just looks dead. I think that just gives that feeling.
I think you're absolutely correct. Actually, just don't even do a blog. It's going to put too much pressure on you.
Yeah, don't do that. Or unless, I guess, you're going to have somebody attaching it to you. And another thing,
you've got to promise me you can keep up with it. If you can't keep up with it, please close that page. It is it's such a turnoff to go to a website that has a blog post from August 2019.
One thing I overlooked was outsourcing. Was I still had to put in the time to guide them.
Absolutely.
Understand 100%. And that's the only way it can be. And the way I would look at your website is this: the work is always going to be there, but either you're guiding somebody or you physically have to do it. But there's always you there, in the same way that if you had a ghostwriter, you would really have to talk to that person a lot, which I don't ever suggest, honestly. I don't suggest it. But if you ever had one, you have to communicate with those people enough to where they hear your language and resonate with your voice in some which way. So even if somebody else is building your website, yes, I agree with you, Scott. It's going to be a lot of time making sure, like, hey, this is who I am and this is what it needs to say on here. So guys, do you have any questions? I wanted to bring up the asset management website so everybody could see what I was talking about. When we look at a lot of advisor websites, when you look at yours, you go, look at this cool thing I built. I got all this stuff here. I go there, it looks the same to me, but I know you. So I know what your website is. But if I were just Googling and I put 20 websites together, how would you stand out? How are you oranging? We need to be more oranging.
I'm empathetic to it. I've been involved in these conversations for years. I get it. Like, especially for advisors who are rebuilding a website, or they're reinvigorated to put one together. They see all the new bells and whistles and I want that. Yeah. Oh yeah. I want that. A chatbot. Give me the chatbot. You're like, no chatbots.
Yes.
It's, you plug on, you plug in all the plugins and you add on all the add-ons because they look and feel and they're visually cool. They're friction. Generally they're copied. Generally they do nothing other than muddy it up. I mean, this is another one we could get into. We're in an age of super high tech, stuff so technical, but we're also in an age of consumable content is so simple and so boring.
Well, we're overcomplicating it because of what technology is allowing us to do. We're thinking, again, it goes back to, we're thinking about it as, look at this, and there's some great AI out there and there's some things coming down the way. And I'm sure there's going to be a chatbot we'll believe in. It's just not right now. So, and whatever that may mean, I don't know how that will be a resonating language, but I imagine it'll just be real people eventually, or feel like real people. But for where we are, I think we're in that stage where the tech is creeping in, but it's not quite there. And you can feel it right away. And when you can feel something like that, it's damaging the brand, if anything. So we're always focusing on adding in those simple human touches and not overcomplicating our lives with technology, using it for operations, but not using it as much for marketing.
Times 1,000. Hey, Scott, I'm going to give it to you straight, man. Your website, I'm not looking at your website. I've never seen it. Let's pretend you're a baker or you're a, whatever, you work on custom men's clothing, bespoke men's clothing. Your store front where you practice your business is your website. Okay. No one's walking into your custom men's clothing shop and buying custom men's clothes without you talking to them. So you're struggling with converting business because the conversion is in the consumable content that you're putting out into the world through email, digital, however you're communicating, podcast, video, whatever it may be. That's the conversion. The website is the backbone and the foundation of your storefront and your business. It's not, you're not selling a product, so you're not going to convert through your website. It's you're not selling men's deodorant. Like it's not a $9 buy.
And I don't think I read the question. This was from Scott. One thing I'm struggling with is a call to action and converting visitors. Worry it is a beautiful business card thus far. And a lot of what happens with or can feel with websites, and that's why it's so big to have content that feeds into that and that funnels it. It is hard to convert. And I think by convert too, it probably just means phone calls, messages, something, contact points. How do we get people to reach out to us? How do we get people to engage in our services? Again, we'd have to dig into the website.
But it is a beautiful business card. That's the point of it. That's all. That's that. I'll argue. I'll go toe to toe with anybody on it. I think that's all your website and a service as a service provider. That's all your website should be. It's just highlighting the services you offer. And if you've provided enough context and value on the communication side through all the different mediums we have available to us, now you'll convert.
Agree.
It's a due diligence platform.
Agree. That is a great way to describe it as well. And I notice, I mean, we talk about this so much and have issues. What do you suggest for people with graphics and dealing with, needing images or symbols? I mean, is that just a Fiverr situation?
No, buy them. I don't know. Like we worked with a member recently who's local to Philly, and he had a bunch of stuff on his site that wasn't Philly related. It's like, well, make it local to Philly. Like, not a big deal. Go buy some stock photos.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the other thing. I guess if you're going to do stock, it is nice to provide local so that when people see it, something resonates. I think the generic side of those stock photos is what gets us. And that's why I would like a real photo. But again, if we had to pick stock, I think I'd put one in there just to add some power to it.
What do you have down in Baltimore? You've got the waterfront or a wharf or something down there that's like cool that people go to when it's nice out?
Harbor.
Sure. All right. You're building your website, right? And it's the About Us page.
Actually, the harbor's pretty unsafe. That's probably not a good example. No, go ahead.
You go down, nice day in May, and you bring your phone or have your wife you've got the strollers and everything. Have your wife take a picture of just you, Ryan, in front of one of the things. It looks nice. You got a nice golf shirt on, it's presentable. That's easily just a banner image.
That sounds just like me.
Well, you know my point here. Like we're adding context. Now we've taken the advisor, put them in a place that everyone's familiar with, and now you're a local Baltimore advisor who's human instead of Adobe stock advisor. And it's like, who the hell is this, person? Yeah. Do you have models working at your business?
Yeah. Some guy who looks, I guess, 50s to 60s, hands and a calculator and a pencil. Like those are the ones. And then I don't know, a chart
perfectly behaved grandchild right there smiling.
Always. Eric, throwing a comment from Eric. It's overwhelming. I don't understand the technology as well as I should, but it's the starting point for people to learn about my brand. There's so many things to do. Where do I start? If you have a real tech issue, there's some things you just have to delegate. And I would honestly say, if you had to, what else are we going to do? Do the best you can, save up some money and get somebody else, to do a website if you're starting. And if you had to start, Corey, I'll put that in your hands since you're the one who's actually physically building them. What would you say to somebody who doesn't even feel comfortable with drag and drop? They don't even want to do Squarespace. They don't.
Don't do it.
How do they get a website?
First of all, the commercial, they work with us. And we work with them to actually, one of our sessions or two of our sessions are just website creation, and we build an outline in Word. Your homepage, bullets under that, about me, bullets on, there's only 4 pages, and we come up with an outline, and we find someone to hire that costs $1,800, or we hand that to 20 over 10 and say, build that. That's what we want. Build that. And here's the images. We'll send you the images.
Yeah.
Put it all together.
And one of the things I would say is going through your website is one of the greatest, what am I trying to say? Reflection points you can have for your business, because it's challenging you to answer questions clearly and succinctly and telling you the value you provide to people. That's what your content should also do when you're going back. But the website, really, because it's like a static piece, and you're like, okay, this needs to answer questions. I can't trickle in content over time. I need this to hit powerfully now. And that's a really good training practice for your business. And something that we're doing with members is, while we're building plans, is building those outlines, because you have to have some kind of outline before you just start piecing stuff together, or you're just putting puzzle pieces in without all the pieces. And for a person who doesn't build websites, it's hard to just do those things and just get going and just building something. That's hard to just shooting a video, doing content is easy to just do. I think a website is, you fumble through, and, going back to Scott's example, took him 7 years to finish his website. He was posting about it, had those fun stories of bring us along, told a cool story about it. But that is what I see commonly happen. And I honestly believe that's why most websites are a couple years old. People remember how crappy it was when they built it, or how it was to go through it, or they just don't think about it, but it becomes an annoyance.
I'm a big analogy guy, so I'll just drive another one of these home. Like, you've got your shed out in the backyard. It's 18 years old. It's rotting. You're piecing it together. The door barely opens, whatever. Rather than putting on a new door and working on the roof and trying to put new panels on, it might be worth it to pull all the shit out of the shed, trash it, and have another one delivered for $2,200 that you don't have to think about again for 10 years. And websites, you got to think about more than every 10 years. Fine. So that analogy doesn't exactly tie in, but I see a lot of opportunity in just letting the current website live the way it lives, and buying a new one and building it in the background, and then launching it, transferring the domain, and fresh start. Like, repairing some of these websites it's going to drag you through, and just,
you're resculpting a sculpture.
Yeah.
It's already kind of set, and fixing something is more difficult than building something new. Completely agree. Love this question by Eric, and I have to hand this to you because this is a good one and difficult for me to answer on the fly. What order should things get done? Website, video, social media. I think that means in terms of where you're marketing, where you're putting out your content, what stage of the game, let's say, of the social media or marketing infrastructure, should we add in the website?
Depends where you're at. If you're starting from zero, I would probably have my website built, because I think you start talking on social media and it's like, okay, who is this guy? Who's this woman? Who are they? What are they about? They don't even have a website. Like, are they real? What are they peddling? If you are in a place where you already have a website that, is sufficient, it's average, whatever, it could be improved, but it works. You're not proud of it, but it needs to be fixed, but it's there. Then I would be doubling down on the pillar content. What are your thoughts?
Yes, I agree with that. And I like what you said about the web. I mean, if you don't have one, there should be one in some way or capacity, because I think it's a place where people go to look at you. Sometimes when they look at your social media, they go to find you. And from what I hear from a few advisors, while you do get DMs in the messages, sometimes also appointments can show up if your content does its job. So the website can be a place where people feel comfortable communicating with you for whatever reason. I think that's a good channel, because there are some people who do want to go to the website.
I'm not handing over thousands of dollars to someone who doesn't have a website. And my rationale for that is, I need to be able to at least feel comfortable that I can trust that you have some sort of a location or presence or affiliation to something.
Yeah. I
that
mean, there's
you
yeah. I mean, when you work with somebody too, I guess there's always something, there's not always something to sign up for and things like that. I guess it depends, but I agree with you. And I don't know a time when there's no website. So I would go with what you said, Corey. If you're starting at zero, you got to have a website so that the content has something to point to. That's part of the when we're planning going through the infrastructure phase, we're trying to make sure that all these little things are tied together. Again, we can polish everything later, but we at least want to make sure that you have up a basic infrastructure so that when your content's working, everybody can contact you however they want in any which way. And then if you had a social media site that you didn't like, I would save up to do what you said, Corey. If you really don't like it, scrap it, build a complete new one, but work on your pillar content and focus on your message, which I guarantee will happen when you're building a new site anyway.
Yeah, I would say the best, like this is sounds selfish, but it's really not. Like if you were going to build a new website tomorrow, the best thing you could do is honestly join our service, cancel in a month, get 2 meetings with us, let us help you lay out the website, and then take that layout and apply it to the new website. And it costs you $500 to have people actually outline this whole thing for you.
Yeah. You get us for 2 hours. In the background, you can ask some questions, 100%. And it's one of the things I actually put in, if you notice, Corey, of maybe we do a one-off website review for people who, I don't know if they want to jump in monthly or they're not sure, they want to test us, or it's just one of the things. If you guys are interested in something like that, DM Corey and I. Not something we've ever done. I just figured I'd put it into the universe and see what happened. Stealing Simon Dude's message from yesterday.
So like instead of it being an ongoing thing, you're just charging it's just a one-off purchase.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, look, you and I talk about this all the time, like delegating things and like, let's bring somebody in to help us with this. Like, I know how to build websites. You know what kind of content to put into websites, but you know what? I still need help and someone else to guide me through it. So we pay someone to do it. Like taking on all this stuff by yourself ends up in having the same conversation in June. And then we have the same conversation in September and every quarter. And that's why I don't mean it to sound like a sell, but like if you need someone to outline the shit that you need done, like let's do it.
We need to take things off our plate and the things we're not good at and the things we don't do. It's the only way. And I don't want to overuse the word scale. Let's just talk about growing at a reasonable pace, is making sure that you have, and you want a life too. You want to have some free time.
Absolutely.
So if we're building our websites, we're becoming copy, we're making images and all these things.
Plus you're overthinking it. It's yours. Like the same thing we do. I'm like, oh, is this word right? Like,
exactly.
It's one word. Like, move on.
Exactly. And if you don't know if that's what's clogging your head up, that's when you know you need to delegate. When you get that I think you call it head trash all the time, or I heard that somewhere. When you have that stuff,
it's just we get in our own way, and it's human behavior. And I'm not casting judgment on anybody. Like the same thing you and I always talk about is we're doing this in real time with you guys. Like we had a member in one of our meetings recently, and he's like, you know what's really cool? I'm like, what? And you're going to love this, Ryan. You were right there, obviously. And he's like, I feel like everything that we're working on together, you, Ryan, and I'm just a little bit farther behind what you guys are doing. And I'm seeing you guys do it, and then it makes sense. And I understand why you're doing it with me. I love that.
Yeah. Watch us fail and learn from it. No, but really, it's true. Practice what we preach. We're with this journey with you, and while we're sharing, obviously, from advisors, and we're a marketing company a little bit different, it still is we're building as a business and as a company and having to monetize or create money through attention. Not something that's easy to do, and it's a lot of things you can touch on. Again, that's why we brought it all the way back to marketing planning. I think even when we started with these consultations, we just felt like, man, there is 100,000 things we could talk about. Where do we go with all of this? Started breaking down into the basics. And then even when we try to be complicated, Corey, and we say, let's create demand content, we realize that a real pain point for advisors and why they're not creating content is because they're so pissed off that their website isn't where they want it to be. So we need to make sure we're getting the things done and we're executing on the things that are bothering you. Because if you're annoyed with something, you're never going to take the next step. So if that's your website, got to get that thing out of the way one way or another, whether it's us, whether it's 20/10, something. Get that website up so you can start moving on. Because what we need to do is establish a social media infrastructure. So all you're doing is creating content. That's where the attention comes from. Your website is never the end all be all. So don't make it that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure it's up, and then make sure you can execute around that. It's just another channel.
Guys, a couple things on what Ryan just said. One, we don't do websites. We don't build websites for people. We'll guide you through the process and help you create an outline to build a website. But one thing you said a minute ago, which I've believed in like forever, and it's an old Gary Vee thing, and I think about it all the time. Like, watch what I do, not what I say. Like, we're actually doing it. We're not just telling you to do it. And the difference there is, if you do it, you believe in it. If I tell you to do it, maybe I'm just giving you what I think is good advice, but I don't actually practice it. There's a big difference there. If you see Ryan and I doing it, we believe in it. So it's watch what we do, not what we say. And I think the last point I want to make, and why someone might react like, well, if you're doing it just a few months ahead of how I'm doing it, like, it doesn't feel like, are you really that mature of a marketing company? Here's the thing. If you're working with a marketing company that's telling you how to do things and they feel like they're 7 years ahead, they're actually 7 years behind, because marketing is changing so fast right now. You have to be updating and changing your style, where you're at, your placement, your creative, everything in real time, like immediately. So if you're working with any sort of marketer that pretends like they have all their stuff buttoned up and it's like set it and forget it, you're going to get that set it and forget it style, and you're 7 years behind everybody else.
100%. Also, tactics just only last so long, and that's why we're I think by making people better marketers and having the show and having our members, we're just trying to always consult and bring people along our journey and what we see, as we really feel like we have our fingers in the pulse of what's going on. And it's from seeing so much success from other advisors, So I don't want to pretend that all of our members are becoming millionaires, but we're figuring out what's working, how to create attention, and getting people there. And that's the goal. And it's really cool to be able to sit down with people and watch everybody grow and have those conversations and see things actually get done. Actually checking things off your list will make you feel so much better, whether that's us or anything else. Take some time away from the show and really go get something important done, something that's bothering you. Focus on that, some big ticket item that's stressing you out, because that's the thing that's holding you back from really moving. We need to get those things done.